welcome to Barca News. It's August 23rd, 2026, and Barcelona are currently finalizing the transfer of Hector Fort. I do have an update for you in regards to that exit. Also, is Balde getting pushed out? We have an update in regards to the academy graduate. And finally, two more names have been linked with Barcelona: Goncalo Inácio and finalizing Balogun. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and today was an amazing day for us Barcelona fans because of course Barcelona were back in action. But not only that, not only is the season officially started for Barcelona, we started the season with a great bang, winning against Elche 0-5 with an incredible display despite not having number 9 and despite not even having all of our starters on the field. I did a post-match live analysis. If you want to hear my analysis, my thoughts about the match against Elche, make sure to check out the video on the channel. No, I didn't forget to mention something about during the match analysis when Rafinha scored that penalty kick. He did the Spider-Man celebration, and I saw people go absolutely wild and nuts and saying, "Oh, it's Rafinha doing it for Julian." It's not. It's not. As soon as he did the celebration, his wife posted on Instagram that it's about their kid. Apparently, their kid loves Spider-Man. That's why he did the celebration. And after the game, he confirmed the same thing. I feel like these days, people just want to grasp at straws. You know, if next week we're going to hear breaking news, Hansi Flick went to the movie theater and watched Spider-Man. He did it because of Julian. It's like, let's chill. Let's chill. Anyways, let's begin with the news because, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona are currently finalizing the exit of Ector Fort. But as you know by now, Barcelona have decided to offload Ector Fort since he came back from loan with Elche last season. He did do the preseason, but after the preseason, Hansi Flick decided that, well, Xavi Espart was ahead of Hector Fort, so they separated Hector Fort from the main group, and they put him on the market. Of course, right now, Hector Fort has decided to go to Dortmund. He had a lot of clubs interested in him. He actually rejected 2 offers, one from Real Sociedad and one from AS Roma. And despite many clubs inquiring about him, he chose Dortmund. So it's reported that Dortmund have sent representatives. They're currently in the city of Barcelona, and they are finalizing this transfer. Now, Barcelona were hoping to make around 15 to 20 million euros for Hector Fort. Negotiations are still ongoing, but it doesn't look like Dortmund will be able to pay that much. They're saying that the deals might close around 10 million. But in exchange, Barcelona will retain a bigger percentage of any future sale. So, in other words, you sell them for a little less right now, 10 million instead of 15 to 20, but you retain a bigger percentage. That way, if Dortmund end up selling Hector Fort in the future, Barcelona get a bigger percentage of that, and that's how they make their money back. Now, Barcelona will also retain a buyback clause. That way, if they ever want to bring back Hector Fort, well, they can do so. This is, of course, something that's been applied to all the transfers for Barcelona's academy. Now, on to that next bit of news, because as I mentioned earlier, Barcelona did defeat Elche 0-5 in its La Liga debut. And one player was missing from the roster, and that was Alejandro Balde, which, of course, shocked everyone because it kind of confirms the rumors that Balde will be leaving the club. Now, we do have an update in regards to that because yesterday, during yesterday's video, I told you about how we talked about first Hansi Flick's statements in the pre-match press conference. When Flick came out, he was asked about Alejandro Balde and Manchester United's interested in him. And Hansi Flick said that Balde, that he looked good, that he was promising a lot of potential, but that he wanted players who were committed 100% and that he wanted players that wanted to fight for their spot. Now, it wasn't too clear whether Flick was sending a direct message to Balde or whether he was just speaking in general terms. And then later yesterday or after the press conference, the news came out that Balde was going to be leaving Barcelona. And that decision was made after Balde met with Hansi Flick and with Deco. And of course, we didn't know at the time whether it was Deco and Flick that told Balde, okay, you need to go, and that's why that news broke, or whether Flick and Deco told Balde, look, you're not going to be that important this season, and Balde said, okay, fuck it, I'm out of here, right? We didn't know which one it is, and well, now we have an update. It looks like it's the former. In other words, it was Flick and Deco that told Balde that he needed to go, and that it was Balde, in fact, that wanted to stay and wanted to fight for his spot. But the club said no. And in fact, today, Hansi Flick excluded him out of the roster, which means that the message is pretty clear. Barcelona are pushing Balde out. Not the best treatment of an academy player, but that's what the club have decided. Of course, if that was Hansi Flick's decision, who am I to challenge it? In general, I think it's a mistake. I think we're going to regret this in a few seasons. We're going to be saying, oh, let's bring Balde back. But hey, if Flick believes that Balde needs to go, in Flick I trust. He hasn't given me any reason to doubt any of his decisions. Now, Manchester United are still very interested in Alejandro Balde. We'll see if that's where he will end up. Of course, Barcelona are hoping to make around 50 million euros for Balde. I hope we do, because if we were to sign Balde today from the Premier, you bet your butt off they're going to charge us that and more. So why not charge what they would charge us if we were to sign him from somewhere else? Now, the question is, who would replace Balde? Because if it's reported that if Barcelona end up offloading Balde this summer, and I say if because even if Barcelona have decided to offload him, he could say, fuck it, I want to stay, right? But if Barcelona end up offloading Balde this summer, it's reported that Barcelona will use that money to then sign someone else. But the question, who is that someone else? And well, as I mentioned during yesterday's video, it could be Jorge Salinas, the 19-year-old Racing left back who can also play as a left center back because he's left-footed. And it makes even more sense that it could be Jorge Salinas for two reasons. Reason number one is, of course, that Barcelona already tried to sign him. In fact, Barcelona reached an agreement with Salinas in June when they went to pay his release clause worth 8 million euros. Racing said, no, we're now in first division. You need to pay 16 million because the contract stipulated that if Racing qualified to first division, the release clause would double. Of course, Barcelona argued that no, the season is over on June 30th. It was still June. Therefore, Racing were technically still in second division, so the release clause was worth 8 million. Racing argued, no, we're mathematically through. We're in first division, so the release clause is 16 million. So Barcelona ended up backing out from the deal. They tried to offer more than the 8 million, but not 16. And Racing said either you pay 16 or not. Now, it looked like Athletic Madrid were very close to signing Jorge Salinas. They offered 14, but Racing remained adamant that you either pay the release clause or you don't get him. So that's the first reason on why maybe Jorge Salinas would make sense in the place of Balde. But the second reason is the connection to Manchester United. It's reported that Manchester United also want Jorge Salinas, but if Manchester United end up signing Balde, they no longer have a need to sign Jorge Salinas. And of course, with Manchester United taking Balde, Barcelona can then use that space that Balde will leave on a salary, on a wage bill, plus the money they make from that sale to attempt the signing of Jorge Salinas once again. And of course, my question to you is, do you think this will be a good signing for Barcelona? Of course, Salinas can play as a left back and as a center back. So you kind of get a 2-in-1 combo, which is kind of where football is moving towards, signing players who are versatile, who can play them more than one position. Or do you think it's better to keep Alejandro Balde in the team? Let me know down below in the comment section. Now, let's end today's video with two players who have been linked with Barcelona. The first one is Goncalo Inácio, the 25-year-old left-footed center back, Sporting center back, who has a 60 million euro release clause and who has a contract with Sporting until 2030. Someone that was linked heavily with Barcelona because Deco was a big fan, and now his name has resurfaced now that Barcelona are talking about offloading Alejandro Balde. Now, Goncalo Inácio is someone who has a lot of experience. He debuted in 2021 with Sporting. Since then, he has played 261 matches during which he has scored 24 goals and provided 15 assists. And he has also had 31 appearances in the Champions League. And again, he's currently being linked to Barcelona. And of course, I'm here to tell you that those links are not real. Barcelona did consider Goncalo Inácio, but they're not considering right now. It seems that Flake is not really a big fan of Goncalo Inácio's profile Kind of like why Barcelona also did not make a move for El Cuti Romero, someone that was also heavily linked to Barcelona, who Hansi Flick also said, I'm not sold. So no truth to the links between Barca and Gonzalo Inácio. And now we'll talk about the second link, who is no other than Folarin Balogun, the 25-year-old American center forward, currently playing for Monaco. He scored 19 goals last season in the league. He scored 4 goals in the World Cup. And of course, with his performance in the World Cup, he has attracted the attention of many European clubs. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, his name started to get linked with Barcelona, who are, of course, in search of a center forward, given that our main priority is Julian Alvarez. There's not much movement on that front. Well, just like Gonzalo Inácio, I'm here to tell you that these links are not true either. Barcelona are not looking to sign Folarin Balogun. Barcelona are, as I mentioned before, looking to sign a center forward who can make the team better, who can be a difference maker, someone that can come and hit the ground running and be Barcelona's starting center forward. Of course, the goal remains Julian Alvarez, but if it's not Julian Alvarez, it has to be someone of that caliber. That's why there were talks about, for example, Lautaro Martinez. Folarin Balogun, good center forward, not really Barca level starting center forward, right? And that's what Barcelona think. So no truth to the links to Folarin Balogun, no truth to the links to Gonzalo Inácio. We'll see whether Jorge Salinas is someone that Barcelona start to consider again now with Balde on his way out. Anyways, that is all the news. Again, I did the post-match live analysis. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to check it out. I'm going to go shower, take my dog out. Well, take my dog out first, shower, and then hit the bed because tomorrow it's a new week. And tomorrow I got to go to the gym, got to work, got to do the podcast. A lot of things to do, but that's okay because what else can we do besides, well, work to pay our bills and, of course, the podcast, which I absolutely love doing. Anyways, have a good night, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, be Barca.